Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
We have problems with Merrick Garland, do we, sir?
Oh my God, he's one of the worst. Unreal. I wish he would just say, you know what, I've been a Republican all along. I was working for Trump the whole time. You see, that's why Trump didn't never badmouth me. Isn't that kind of remarkable? Awful.
Well, I mean, with regard to Jack Smith, now, Volume 2 is not going to come out at all, right? It's going to have to be leaked at some point because we're not going to get it. Did you? I listened to Allison Gill's Jack podcast over the weekend where she read Volume 1.
Wow.
Yeah, she and
That's
Andy.
A long volume.
It was 3 or 4 different episodes, and she and Andy McCabe read it, and there was some stuff in Volume 1 that was new information with regard to witnesses and things like that. I found it interesting to listen to. If you haven't listened to it, kids, do it. It's on the Jack podcast. It's a fantastic read through.
I like to read. I'm a reader, so I read it when it came out. There was some new things. I think the best thing was a narrative. What I really liked about Jack Smith's report was his cover letter, in that he talked about it point blank, that I had a great team, but I was the one that made the decision to charge Donald Trump, but I stand by it. And that takes more courage than people realize, because Jack Smith knows Donald Trump's coming for him. And Jack Smith said, don't go after my staff. Don't go after the people who worked on the case. You want someone, you come after me. And that is courage. It is the opposite of Merrick Garland, who failed us. Jack Smith, and if Merrick Garland had done the right thing, which is appoint an attorney, special counsel on day one of taking office, it would be a whole different scenario. And that's my biggest gripe, is that Merrick Garland knew Donald Trump was running for office. As I wrote in my article, like Merrick Garland gets sworn in March 2021. 2 weeks before, literally, Trump's first appearance after January 6th, he's at CPAC, and the headlines are, Trump teases 2024 run. So Merrick Garland didn't want to get involved in politics, and I believe sincerely he didn't. That was his great failing, not appointing at that moment a special counsel to investigate Donald Trump. Everything would have been expedited, all the appeals and everything. We would have had him already convicted and in jail, to be honest. So that's the biggest failing. I honestly don't think Merrick Garland was working for Trump. I'm kidding about that. I just think he wanted to stay out of politics so much. The result was he didn't do his number one job, protect our republic from someone who attempted a coup and incited a terrorist attack on our capital. And I'll never forgive him for that.
No, it's a valid argument against that. Now, Jim Jordan was interviewed the other day with Dana Bash, saying that he wants to bring Jack Smith up for a committee. I think that's a great idea. Let Jack Smith have the microphone. Go. I mean, don't you think that's kind of dumb on their part?
It is, and I wonder if they'll actually let him testify in front of the public openly, or if it's going to be behind the scenes and they get a statement and then they go, we're not going to bring him because blah, 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 whatever. But yeah, if Jack Smith tells a story. Now, it's about not allowing anyone to forget what Donald Trump's about. And I know we just had an election and he won. And they're saying, well, he won, so that means that the coup doesn't matter, the attack doesn't matter. It does. If it matters to you, the Constitution, the rule of law, living in a democratic republic, we should never forget it.
Right.
And we have to talk about it. Donald Trump is someone who should be in a prison cell, not getting sworn in as president today. And that's objective. That's not political spin. The man attempted a coup. He incited a terrorist attack. If it wasn't for delays in prosecuting and then the Supreme Court protecting Donald Trump with that ridiculous decision on immunity, Donald Trump is going to jail today. He's on his way to jail, if not in prison already.
Yeah, he should. I mean, obviously, with the sentencing in New York, just that alone, I mean, it wasn't as big a crime, obviously, as J6 or the espionage case, which is what I call the one down in Florida. It's unfortunate that judge felt like he had to do what he did with that sentencing because, for some strange reason, presidents are above the law.
Yeah.
And don't forget, in that case, the DA didn't ask for any kind of penalty whatsoever, not probation, not incarceration, because Trump won. If Trump didn't win, in this kind of case in New York, when I've done reading about it in other cases, he probably doesn't get jail time, but he gets probation, where he has to check in. He might get a suspended sentence like he does any other violation. Then he has to go to jail for, say, 6 months or a year, something like that. But no one can find a case where someone was convicted of 34 felonies by a jury and got nothing. But that's Donald Trump. Now, in reality, we knew he wasn't going to jail because rich white people don't go to jail in general, except for Bernie Madoff. And that's because he stole money from other rich white people.
Right.
But if he did, that's the truth. Like if he stole money from brown and black people, he would be the Republican nominee for president.
Right.
But if you just steal from. But the reality is with Donald Trump, no accountability means he is now emboldened to do whatever he wants and believe in his heart he will get away with it because nothing has told him in his life that he won't get away with it. And now he has immunities that the Supreme Court has laid out, including absolute immunities. If he bases things based on the Constitution, that argument, it's a dangerous place, and he's the worst person to be in the White House for the next whatever years he is there for.
That's fun. Yeah. Oh, I feel so much better.
We're going to fight. Look, we're not going to give in. We cannot give up. I keep saying this, Jody, from day one. We're not going to meet him halfway. There's no honeymoon. There's no let's give him the benefit of the doubt. At least that's not how I view it.
Right.
We're not going to meet him halfway on his bigotry and his racism and his cruelty. We're going to take the fight to him because we know who he is, and more importantly, we know who we are.
Right.
And that's the important thing. We're not going to compromise who we are as a people and what we believe in this country to this monster who should be in prison. The guy attempted a coup. I'm sorry, I'm old-fashioned about this. If you attempt a coup and it's a terrorist attack, you go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And only in America did this rich white guy get away with it. And that's why I hold people responsible for it, because it didn't happen because on his own. There are a bunch of check marks that God is here. And we can't forget that.
No, we can't. I mean, I just looked at video of President Biden and Dr. Biden welcoming Donald and Melania, and I was just like...
Yeah. Joe Biden said welcome home, which I thought was very...
It's classy.
Yeah.
But it's just hard to watch that because Donald didn't do any sort of courtesy to him and his wife.
I wish you would have said welcome home. And by the way, there's a drone right behind you. Something like that. That would have been kind of fun.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. At least got you. At least I got you for a moment. Oh, look, Putin's here. He wants to talk to you about some money you owe. Something like that.
Yeah.
You know, like let's have some fun with it, Joe Biden. But look, here's the problem that a lot of people have. Like Joe Biden is someone who is an institutionalist.
Yes.
And that's a good thing in a lot of ways. Yeah. But Joe Biden told us in 2022, before the midterms, in 2 speeches, that Donald Trump was, quote, an existential threat to our freedoms and our democracy.
Right.
Literally said that. And then after Trump wins, welcomes him to the fireplace chat and says, now welcome home. This inconsistent messaging is going to cause a problem for us as Democrats going forward, because when people make the same arguments in the future about Republicans, people are going to, even Charlemagne the God over the weekend was saying, it's sort of on the show, I was reading articles about it. This is really, at the very best, inconsistent messaging, at the very best. Or did you not believe it? But I think sincerely Biden believed it. I believe Democrats who warned us about Trump believed it, and they should. I think now the inconsistent messaging flies in the face of being an institutionalist, and you had to pick one or the other. Biden is being who he is. I can't ask him to change now. It's too late. But there are other Democrats that are not going to his inauguration. I think that's important. Send the message things are not normal and that we're with you.
Right.
We're willing to fight.